Hello, guys. So, if your desire has always been to study for free or to study on scholarship, full funded scholarship, then the MEXT scholarship, the MEXT Japanese Government Scholarship is what you need. Yes, this particular scholarship covers everything. Like there are few scholarship that covers everything down to your flights, your airfare. This particular scholarship covers down to your airfare. So it has a lot of things that you need to do before you can finish the application. But in this video, I'll I will show you the step-by-step guide on what you have to do. So we'll go through the guide together, the requirements together so that you'll be able to have a successful application. So if this video is something you're really interested in, kindly stick to the end of this video. My name is Gift and I talk about scholarships, study abroad for mostly African students. So let's get to the website. In the description below, I'll be attaching the link to this particular website for you to see. So this is the website studyinjapan.go.jp. So this particular scholarship has two different routes. You can either apply through the embassy or you apply through a university. So let me start with the university route. The university route, the process involved in the university route is for you to find a supervisor, find a lecturer in a university approved by MEXT. So it is not every university that you can just go online and find a lecturer or a supervisor. You need to be sure that that university is approved by MEXT. So when you find the supervisor, this lecturer, by code, emailing them and they accept you, before the acceptance, most times they tend to interview you, ask you for your research proposal, what you intend to work on when you're admitted, some series of interviews actually. And once they are done with those series of interviews, if that particular lecturer is okay with you and feels like, okay, I can work with this student, the next thing the lecturer does is to tell the faculty tells the school, and then the school tells next, and they will consider you for the scholarship. That is the first route. But getting a supervisor, getting the school telling MEX that they are considering you for the scholarship is not a guarantee that you are already getting the scholarship. So that's one thing about the university route. But it still works. Some people go through the university route and it works for them. Now let's talk about the embassy route, which is the most common route that lots of people use or are still using. For the embassy route, you go through the submission of your documents, your application, and other things. And when you're done with submitting your documents and application, you write an exam. After writing the exam and pass the exam, we'll go through all these things when I start sharing with you what the website looks like, the requirements and other things. So that is when you also see the exams you'll be writing. So I'll also attach a link in this video to past questions. I can't find it currently. I'll attach a link to past questions so that you can use it to prepare for your exams. So you write exam, and after writing the exam, the next thing is when you pass the exam, that's the first screening, then the embassy will ask you to go ahead and talk to lecturers, and they will give you a certificate. So with that certificate, you can find lecturers. And most times when you have this particular certificate after your first interview, you tend to get lecturers faster because those lecturers are now sure that you'll be coming. Yeah. So because when you're filling this form, which I'll also show you, you fill out the universities you intend to go to. So you get this particular certificate. You can now use it to find lecturers, and after finding lecturers, then you're good to go. But that's after the exam and the interview. So let's go and see what the requirements are, everything that are needed. Please, this video will just do, let me say, 40% of the work for you. You also have a lot of work to do. Scholarship comes with lots of work. You need to read, you need to follow guidelines, you need to follow instructions. So, like I said, this is the website for applying for this scholarship. So, this particular is just talking about the embassy recommendation procedure, right? So, here are a list of websites of Japanese embassies, because apart from this documentation, these requirements by the the Japan, like the study in Japan, the MEXT scholarship, apart from all this this stuff they are asking for, you also need to go to your country website. Go to your country website and see what your country website requires of you. So here are the requirement, the application guidelines. Yes, to get the application guidelines and a page like this for the graduate students, all you need to do is to go to the website of Japanese embassies. So here you will see different embassies for all the countries where Japan has embassies. So you scroll down, that's where Africa is. Then you can find Nigeria. So Embassy of Japan in Nigeria. So when you come scroll down here, you will see the news they've published so far. So this is what we are looking for. Japanese government's MEXT Scholarship for 2027 Embassy recommendation for research on the Graduate College of Technology and Specialized Training College students. So you click on it. Now when you click on it, you will see all the information you need. Like I said before now, MEXT have their requirements, but your embassy requirement is very important. So this is the embassy requirement for Nigeria. So it's possible that the embassy requirement for Ghana may be different, or maybe the embassy requirements for China may be different. Like every country has different embassy requirements. So all you need to do is to go to the embassy requirements of your country. So I'll be attaching the link of websites of Japanese embassies to the description below of this video. So we have research student. The Embassy of Japan in the Federal Republic of Nigeria is happy to announce that the 2027 MEXT Scholarship Program for Research Undergraduate College of Technology and Specialized Training College is now open for application. Please refer to the link below for detailed scholarship guide. So this is the scholarship guide for research students, and this is for undergraduate, this is for College of Technology, and so on and so forth. Now, before we continue, I want to let you know that the deadline for the application, this year's application, is 8th of June. So if you have all your materials available, you can go ahead and submit your application. And here is the submission address: Embassy of Japan in Nigeria, number 9 Bobo Street off Ghana Street, Maitama, Abuja. We'll still come back to this when it's time for talking about the submission. But let us go to the guidelines and see what the guideline has to offer. Open a new tab. So here's the guideline for the research program. Now, these research students are masters and PhD. Undergraduates are those coming in for the university program. So this is for the research students. So you need to take your time to really go through these guidelines. Now, this guideline is what you need for the application. You need to really take your time to study the guideline and follow the instructions of the instructions written in this guideline if you want to win the scholarship. Yeah. So this guideline mostly contains the basic information you know, but I still need for you to go through it. So definition of research students. To consider yourself a research student. So those who are enrolled in master's course, a doctoral course, or professional graduate course at a graduate school, or who are conducting research in a specialized field at an undergraduate department, graduate school, institutes attached to a university, etc., within the aim of completing the course, or who are receiving preparatory education in the Japanese language and other subjects prior to placement at the university. etc., excluding young leaders, program students, or teacher training students. So here we have the fields to study. The third one talks about qualification and controls. As to be qualified for this scholarship, you must come from a nationality that has diplomatic relation with Japan and some other stuff there. And then to be qualified for this research program, you must be born on or after 2nd April 1992. So you must not be more than 35 years to be qualified for this scholarship. You have the academic background, the master course, the doctoral course, applicants who have completed 16 years of school. Let's not waste much of our time on this. So here are the benefits of this scholarship, the visa requirements, and so many other things. You can just go through them and see what they contain. So now let's talk about the process for the application and selection. So the first part of the process is call for application, which is what is currently open. And after the application, there is first screening around early May to late July. The dates for first screening and notification of screening results vary according to each Japanese diplomatic mission. And then the next one is request for provisional acceptance to Japanese universities. The applicants who pass the first screening shall directly contact the Japanese university in which they wish to enroll and request provisional acceptance. Then the next phase is the submission of placement reference application form. The next one is second screening, university placement, notification of results of selection and university. So here are the application documents you need for your application. They stated if you go to this place where we went to the Japanese embassy, there is a note they say kindly and carefully note of the following. This thing you need to study them and see what it is written or what is written here. But let's just go through it sharply. Say applicants must study the application guideline carefully and follow all the instructions therein before submitting. It is very important, very, very important. Make sure to fill out correctly every part of the scholarship application form. We'll go through the application form shortly. Failure to do so will make your application ineligible, leading to disqualification. Please check that the original academic transcript has been submitted. A photocopy of graduation certificate or degree certificate is acceptable if the photocopy is attested by an authorized official of the university. Do not submit the originals, and the submitted document will not be returned. This is very important, and this is why I came back here. Don't submit your original document. The fact I stated, if you see where they talked about submission, talked about submitting one original and two photocopy, does not mean you should go and take your original certificate, your original transcript, put it in an envelope and submit. They will not return it to you. And that's how you will lose your document. So don't submit. So what do you do? How do you make your documents be original? What you need to do is to notarize your photocopy document. Notarize it, go and look for a notary lawyer, notarize your document, and after notarizing it, that one that is carrying the fresh notary stamp is your original copy. Then you now photocopy those notarized documents, they become the photocopied copy of your paper, of your document for your certificate and transcript. So application package must be submitted as hard copy in person or by post only. No online email submission will be accepted. So nothing like submitting your application online. You're going to submit it at the Japanese embassy. But if you're not in Abuja, where the Japanese embassy is located, you can find someone that can help you with the submission. Incomplete submission of application documents, e.g., a copy of graduation certificate, transcript, recommendation letter, medical certificate form will render the application ineligible. Therefore, will not be processed or screened. Please be aware that if your selected courses are not related to your research plan, you will not be accepted by the university and will be unable to study in Japan under the program. This applies to the research students category. So if you studied chemistry, don't write a research proposal on maybe business. So your research proposal should be related to what you're going to go and study. That is what this is talking about, and it's something to take note. Please, application packages must be carefully and neatly arranged accordingly to avoid disqualification. Only successful candidates will be contacted at every point of screening exercises. Be informed that there are some other criteria for screening not contained in this note. So let's go back to these guidelines. So these are the documents, the application documents that you need for your research program. If you're going for your research program, these are the documents that you need. Documents indicated by the white circle must be submitted by all applicants. Documents indicated by the black circle should be submitted only if applicable. So that's why I had to read this before coming here. So we have 11 documents, and out of these 11 documents, 7 are compulsory, right? And then the remaining 4 are to be submitted only if applicable. So you have your application form, which we'll check out now, placement preference application form, field of study application form. Let's see, let me open up the application form. Here's the application form. So that as I call the form, I'll open the ones that are here so you don't feel like, how do I get it? And then you have placement preference application. This is the placement preference application here. Then the next one is academic transcripts for all academic years of university attended. So it is up to you to get your academic transcript. And like I said before now, you're not submitting your original academic transcript. You get your academic transcript from your university. You go to a notary lawyer and you get a notary stamp. That becomes your original academic transcript for this application. Likewise, the certificate. You get your original certificate, then you photocopy it, then give it to a notary lawyer. A notary lawyer stamps the photocopy. That photocopy bearing the notary lawyer stamp is what you are submitting as the original for this application. Don't go and notarize your original certificate because you want to apply for this certificate, for this scholarship. So the certificate, the recommendation letter from the president, dean, or the academic advisor at the current or last university attended. I have free format, a sample format is also available. So now let's talk about this. Here is the recommendation letter sample they provided. But in a case where you cannot give this to your recommender can use the letter heading of your school. If you're providing your school recommendation letter, they can use the letter heading of your school to form a recommendation letter for you. So it's either they use this or they use a recommendation letter that has the letter heading of your school. It's very important. Don't just get any recommendation like you maybe got an A4 and the person just writes and signs. The signature is not enough. That letter heading is very, very crucial for this application. In fact, for any scholarship application you're going for, that's letter heading. If you're getting recommendation from your school, the letter heading from your school is important. If you're getting it from a workplace, make sure that there is a letter heading. Very important for any scholarship application. So if you're not using this, their recommendation form that they provided, you have to provide information because here there are some questions they asked. So the recommendation letter that your supervisor or that your not just your lecturer, your school, your professor or any will be given to you, the recommendation letter they will be given to you should answer all these questions. You shouldn't just write what they feel like writing. You should answer all these questions. See, any other format of recommendation letter will be accepted, but it will also be nice you follow the format that they provided. So the next thing here is medical certificate. So they have a medical certificate format here, certificate of health. And then we have abstracts of thesis. So this is not compulsory. Submit if the applicant has written thesis. So if you have a thesis that you've already written, a paper you've published, just submit the abstracts of that paper that you've published. Certificate of language proficiency. Only in the case the applicant has documents attesting to competency in Japanese or English. Submit 3 copies. No original document necessary. The date of issue of the certificate should be no earlier than 2 years from the date of application to the Japanese diplomatic mission. So here they say if the applicant states that they are very good with Japanese language, you need to provide a certificate to prove that proficiency, or English, you need to provide a certificate. So for most of us from Nigeria, that English is our primary native language or medium of communication. All you need to do for this certificate of proficiency, if at all you want to provide, is just to get one from your university, because your university days, during your university or undergraduate, your studies was done in English, so you can get a language proficiency from your school. But look at that black dot, it's not compulsory. Recommendation letter from the present employer, also not compulsory, right? Then submit if the applicant is currently employed. Free format, a sample format of it. That's if you're currently employed, you can submit this, but it's not compulsory. Then you have photographs showing the applicant's own works of art or digitally recorded media or musical performance. All these things are not compulsory. So I think the documents that are needed here are not even lots of documents. They're just 7 documents and you're good to go. So this document was written in Japanese or English, or if they are written in any other language or translation in either Japanese or English should be attached. Ensure that there are no missing information in the application form when printing out. The applicant photograph to be attached to the application form. So just go through all these things. We cannot go through them now. So let's go to the application form. Okay, this is the certificate of health. Just get a medical personnel to fill this. This is not something you can do yourself. I'm not a medical personnel, sorry. Go to a government hospital and they fill it for you. Attach the stamp to show that it was actually done in a medical hospital. It's not just filling. You carry out all the tests written here: tuberculosis, malaria, like gets the test done, hepatitis B, chickenpox, that gets it done and then filled and stamped from a public hospital. So let's close the tab for certificate of health. Then this is recommendation. Let me close the tab. So here's the placement letter. Now this placement letter is just the universities after your research, because you have work to do. Name of university, name of graduate school, name of academic advisor. Like, you do your research, you fill this up. But after filling it up, that does not mean that they must answer. You can fill up 3 of these, and at the end, when you get, after you're done with your interview and other things, maybe only one of these lecturers will answer you and you go with them. So this is also important. You do your research and fill this form up. It's just your basic information: gender, nationality, date of birth, and stuff. So that is it for then we are here now, the application form for the Japanese government scholarship for the research students. Please, if you're applying for undergraduate, your form is different. Undergraduate student is different. If you want to see your own form or what you're applying for, just go through this Japanese government embassy in Nigeria. That's where I went from to get all this stuff for the research program. So for undergraduate, you just come here and click this, and then you can see all these things I provided. Your form is different, even though the difference is not that much. So here you have your basic information. First of all, let's read the instruction. Very important. Type or write neatly by hand in block letters. Please don't write. Use a laptop and type. The reason why I say don't write is because these spaces are not enough and you cannot expand them. This is the way it is. You cannot go and print this, because you're going to print this. So you can't print this and tell the printer, make it bold. But if you take this and type into it, you use your Microsoft Word to type into this, you can always shift it and adjust it, or not adjust, sorry, you can reduce your font size so that your information will go in. So you have used Arabic numerals 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right here is in Western calendar. All these things are the instruction. They say follow guidelines and instructions. Write proper nouns in full without abbreviation. The personal information provided in this application form will be used to provide information relating to the selection and all the rest. Now, these four instructions are very important, and make sure you do not make mistakes. So you have your basic name, your surname, your middle name, you have your gender, marital status, and current address. Let's just scroll down to the. Let's just scroll down, and most of the questions here are something you can answer. Yeah, there are things you can. Have you been awarded the Japanese government scholarship in the past? If yes, you specify the year and the month. On the program number, what are you coming for? Research students, number one. Undergraduate, college of technology. So if you have research, you put number one here. Then, if you mark one above, do you have at least 3 years of educational or work experience when the end of the payment of the previous scholarship? As if you stated that you have received the scholarship before. So these things are things you can easily fill. Now here, whenever you see informations like this or instructions like this, read them very well so you will know what they are talking about. This is just about your academic records, your primary school, elementary, but there's an instruction here that you should follow. I don't want to take more time, so you can just read it through and fill it up. So here we have field and specialization studied in the past. Be as detailed and specific as possible. So you write your course you studied in the past. Now here the next one is states the titles or subjects of books and thesis, including graduation thesis authored by applicant, if any, with the name, address of publisher, and date of publication. So if you have any book you've published or any paper you've published, you state it here. So the next one here is please make sure that abstract of thesis in a separate paper with your name on if you select here. So if you actually have a paper that you published, just attach the abstract when you are packaging your material for submission. Attach the abstract of your paper when submitting. So we have most of these are stuff you can feel, right? Now, motivation for studying in Japanese. Please specify your motivation in the following items. What was the trigger for having an interest in Japan? Why do you choose Japan as a destination to study graduate level education? And the third one is, what kind of things do you think you can contribute to Japan and your home country through your experience of studying in Japan? Please, we know we are in the era of AI, but you see this thing, we have lots of applicants applying, and AI will give you generic information. It will be very good if you're authentic, you write these things yourself. This page, this gap here is very small. So they're not expecting you to write one full page. Do something little, but it should be authentic. And don't write what you go to AI, AI will give you what it's giving to every other person. So try your best to write something authentic that is different from what others are writing, and try to connect what you're studying to what you will learn in Japan and how it will be useful to you in your own country after your studies. And be very honest when, because the reason why I say don't use AI, and for those of you that would say you want to pay someone to do this application for you, even if someone does this application for you, let me not tell you, don't give someone to pay. Don't pay someone to do it for you. Even if someone does it for you, go through it, because you see this application, that is what they will use for your interview. When you're called for a one-on-one interview, they will have these things handy and they will ask you questions from it. And when you rack your brain to write something, you will think it through before you write. But when someone does it for you, you can just go through it and you will not really think it through. So whether you're using AI, someone is doing it for you, make sure you put in your work here. There is work to be done there. You need to put it in and really understand what you are penning down here. So every other thing here, like I've said, are things anybody that can read and write can fill up. But if you have any question, you can drop it in the comment section below. So when you're done, you can understand and accept all the conditions stated. They take this date of application, and then you submit. So you're submitting you're submitting it. Let's go back to this Japanese, the embassy, and see the instruction on how to submit. Okay, so like I said, the application document should be submitted later with checklist. Please download the checklist from here. So let's see what the checklist looks like. Oh, okay, back. So here's the checklist. Please tick the item. Now, what the mean is that as you're submitting your application, you are also attaching this checklist. This checklist, you must have ticked the ones that applies to you. If you're a research student, you tick. If you're a research student born on or after 2nd of April 1992, you tick. If you have all these required documents, both the original and photocopy of each document are required, please select one category, check that you have all the necessary documents. And so that means you're submitting two types of document, the original of the document and the photocopy of the document, right? And from what we just listed, we have application form, placement preference application, placement preference application form, field of study and research plan. So you're writing your research plan. Application academic transcript for all year of study at the university attended, certificate of graduation, medical certificate, abstract of thesis, applicable candidates only, certificate of language proficiency. So from here we can see that you need to provide a certificate of language proficiency, 3 copies. Letter of recommendation from the current employer. It's stated that you're currently employed. You're getting letter of recommendation from your employer. But if you stated that you're not employed, you get a letter of recommendation from your lecturers. But they need only one letter of recommendation. Just one. Not that's from one person. Yeah. So photographs showing the applicant's own works. This one is more like your portfolio, the things you've done. This for graduate, and that's what I said I will use as a case study in this video. So these are the documents you are submitting. These are the things you'll be submitting. So one of the things that is listed here that I didn't talk about is your research plan. You need to have a research plan. I talked about it, yes, and I said your research plan has to be in line with what you studied during your undergraduate. So here they said you need to 3 photocopies of the certificate of language proficiency. But all these documents, what are you submitting? How do you submit this document? How do you package it? For the research program, you're submitting 1 original package and 2 photocopies. What does it mean? You get 1 original. How to package this your document? This is the final part of this video. You get 1 original and pack it in an envelope. And then you photocopy those originals. I've told you how to make your photocopied certificate, your photocopied certificate and transcript into original by notarizing them. Then you get those originals, photocopy them. After photocopying them, you photocopy them in 2 places. You put each of them in different envelopes. So you label original copy, the second envelope photocopied. Now you have 3 packs or 3 envelopes. When you're done, you take these 3 different envelopes and put them in one big envelope. And then you take it to the Japanese embassy, and the address is there. So I would attach the link to this website so that it will be very easy for you to access them and get your paper, your form, and other things. So filling the form, like I said, finally, don't use your hand. No matter how beautiful your handwriting is, typing will still be very good than writing. for this application. So for those of you that will be going ahead to apply for this, I wish you all the best. And for some people that may not be able, feel that they won't be able to meet up with the time, being that the time is June 3rd, in June, the deadline is June 8th. You can prepare these documents so that you can try this out next year. Remember, there is no application fee and it's just like studying for free. So if you found this video useful, kindly subscribe to my channel, like this video so that other people can see it, and also share it to your friends and your loved ones that would also need it. So see you guys in my next video. Bye.